I was 15 years old when I started selling AMSOIL. And I would go through the neighborhood with my 10-speed, dragging a lawnmower behind me, knocking on people's doors and asking if they wanted their lawn mowed. Sometimes people would ask about all the AMSOIL stickers on my lawnmower because they had never heard of it at that point. When I started driving and got my own car, of course I ran AMSOIL in it, I went to a Ford dealer down the street. And I walked in, by that point I was 18, and I approached him about AMSOIL synthetic oil. I was talking to the parts manager. He was very nice and he said, "I'll have to think about it, I'll let you know." A few weeks went by, the guy called and he said, "I'll give it a shot." I about fell over because I had no experience in anything like that. I didn't even know how to fill out the paperwork. To this day, that Ford dealer is still one of my AMSOIL accounts. And once you can get into a car dealership, you can get other car dealers because everybody knows everybody in that line of work, even if it's a different brand. Since we have gotten into antique outboard motors so heavily, we have a warehouse to store some of our motors. It happens to be at a marina, which has turned out to be a good thing because when my son and I go down to work on the motors and service them, people walking up and down the docks see the antique motors and they walk over and they, "Hey, what is that? Does it run?" And then they strike up a conversation asking about the motor, which is usually an opportunity to say, "Well, this is what it is, it's this old, and oh, this is what we run in it." I have about 4 yachts at the marina I'm at, and when they order oil, they order a lot of oil because they have very large diesel engines in them, and they'll buy drums of oil. Because we're into the Antique Outboard Motor Club and we go to the meets every month, I actually set up a display at the meets where I have my antique outboard motors. And people will come up and they start talking about the engine and, "Hey, here's the oil I'm using in my outboards." And so when they see somebody who's running a motor and there's not a lot of smoke coming out of it, and you can pull parts off and show them how clean the engine is and there's no wear, it piques their interest. And once they use it, I usually keep them and they usually don't go back to anything else. The people in the Antique Outboard Motor Club come from all walks of life. You don't know what their hobbies are besides outboards. And I've sold a bunch of the products by just putting the bottles out there and they come up and they say, "Wow, I didn't know they had that stuff too." You know, he might be into cars or motorcycles or guns. They all need lubrication. My wife has gotten in on the act from being around it all the time. She's become very knowledgeable on the oil. And so she'll speak to like people's wives when they come up. "Oh, has your husband tried this?" So my wife and I joke about it a little bit because she's not a salesman, but it's worked out pretty well. I was able to convince the parent organization for the Antique Outboard Motor Club that AMSOIL is a good product. That being said, they said, "Okay, we'll help you out." And they put it on their main website because people in the antique outboard community tend to buy from other like-minded individuals. And there's somebody, they could be in Seattle and they're looking for oil for their antique outboard. And so when you go to their website, they'll scroll down and they see AMSOIL right at the top of the list and they click on that link and it takes them to my personal AMSOIL website. So that's been beneficial to me.